This is the dawn of a new era in British karting. Over 550 drivers in 12 classes competing for victory over 18 race weekends. This is the Motorsport UK British Kart Championships.
My name's Alex Goldschmidt. With the 2019 Honda Cadet Cup coming its way into Rissington for this very weekend, it's level on points between the pairing of Mitchell Gibbons in the number 81 from Ambition Motorsport and the number 5 of Japan's Keen Nakamura-Berta from Project One Racing. Gibbons might only have the advantage on countback coming into this race weekend, but alongside Nakamura-Berta, he is expecting a lot of competition in a very highly charged class.
Approached it to just be able to pull away with Kian and then every man for himself at the last couple laps. I'll be expecting Sonny Smith to be up there, and Connor Duncan and Ewan Sharman.
What is going to happen in the Honda Cadet Championship this year here at Rissington as the grid forms up? Standing start formation as per the regulations in Motorsport UK British Kart Championships. So we wait for the 4 lights to be put on the starting gantry by the race director. That is when everyone is in position. So Ben Rayburn, the final one to line up. Race director puts the lights on the starting gantry. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lights out. Honda Cadets get away here at Rissington in final number 2. Bit of a slow start from Connor Jackson. Drops down one place in the very initial phase going through Paddock Bend. But Keen Nakamura gets the whole shot. Mitchell Gibbons looks to have got up at least one place. Going through the loop for the first time. All 34 trying to make their way through, negotiate it cleanly as they go into the top bend, but Nakamura-Berta has a clear, distinct advantage. As it looks like we've got Ethan Simmons, I think, has gone down into 3rd place, but goes up the inside, probably on, as Connor Duncan did not have the greatest start at all. Bogged down, getting away from the line. So probably would have had the likes of Jack Hobson, who would have been up there along with Mitchell Gibbons as Nakamura-Berta heads into the elbow. The very first time of asking. Great 5-way scrap from 4th position onwards. A bit of bumping off of the curbs there. Might have been maybe the number 35, which is Zach Drummond, as the number 77 of Oscar Chewton trying to go up the inside of Ewan Sharman for 9th position. But the 77 from Project One East Anglia has to fall back there. Meanwhile, Jack Hobson up from 4th into 3rd place. Sonny Smith now already up into 4th position. Maybe even make that 5th in the minute. As the leaders now head down towards the dog leg off the back straight. Nakamura-Berta had an advantage of nearly 8.5 tenths of a second after lap number 1 on Ethan Simmons. A little bit further down the order, some changes of position. Thomas Cucurullo yeomans up from 20th into 15th place. Damien Barris-Haggett drops behind Freddie Hull, who's gone from 32nd to 24th. Nice work from the Ambition Motorsport driver, but Nakamura-Berta has a considerable lead of around about 0.86 of a second, but Jack Plant has got past Sonny Smith and has also set the fastest lap of this race at 50.02 from the number 57 from Heinz Racing. So Nakamura-Berta is getting away from the rest of the field, but there is still a lot of this race to go. Just over 2 minutes completed here, the 4th round of the 2019 Honda Cadet Championship here at Rissington. Well, they then move on to Fulbeck on the 22nd and the 23rd of June. In around about 5 or 6 weeks' time. So Nakamura-Berta still leads, and it looks like there has been a change of position. I think I recognise that might be Ethan Simmons, who's now up in second, which is the case. Jack Hobson still in 3rd. Connor Duncan. Mitchell Gibbons in the meantime, 2nd in the championship so far, and is now up into 5th position. Not been the greatest 4 days for Ambition Motorsport, who have had an unfortunate theft affecting both Mitchell Gibbons and also Freddie Hull. But Paul James, the entire Ambition Motorsport team, have been very, very much case on point. They've had so many offers from the karting community, and there's also been so much help around the paddock here this very weekend. Ben Rayburn, unfortunately, is dropping a little bit further back. Ben, having been probably a little bit winded after the collision with barriers coming out of paddock on final number 1, is still running, still circulating, so that just shows the result of these youngsters, as Keith Nakamura-Roberta now has a 9/10 of a second advantage over Ethan Simmons. Jack Hobson past Connor Duncan up into 3rd position. Mitchell Gibbons still sitting in 5th, but he's about nearly a second away from the Scottish driver in the O-plate from Hines Racing. Jack Plant up past Sonny Smith, who drops down from 6th down into 7th. So Plant really has helped his championship hopes a little bit by getting into the top 6. Oscar Chewton, who's also been in the mix in the title foray this season so far, is ahead of Hayden Eldridge from Hines Racing, the number 41, himself also a Honda Cadet champion last season in the club racing circuit. Jaden Gregg, Zach Drummond have also dropped positions. Gregg has got past Drummond up into 11th, as Jack Hobson has been confirmed as going past Connor Duncan. Mitchell Gibbons trying to close the gap, but it's not happening at the minute. There's still just over 10 minutes and 30 seconds of this race still to go. But Mitchell Gibbons is going to try and do as much as he can to close in on the lead that is starting to expand between himself and Keith Nakamura-Roberta. Virtually speaking, in terms of championship placings, as if, like, say, if the race was finished now, Nakamura-Roberta would have 14 coming out of this race weekend. But the thing that I need to ask in many respects is who is going to try and challenge the Japanese driver in the number 5 from Project 1. Could it be Ethan Simmons from Cutting Edge Racing in 2nd? Maybe even Jack Hobson, or maybe even Connor Duncan. Don't forget about good old Mitchell Gibbons, still running in 5th. I think he's doing a bit of damage limitation, because to be 5th after qualifying on aggregate yesterday afternoon, the youngster in the number 81, the English driver, he has really shown a big smiley face whenever I've seen him at this weekend. Despite whatever has been thrown at Paul James and Ambition Motorsport, their determination to succeed has proved resourceful. It's also showcased the attention that is provided through hardship and unfortunate incident that was not really necessary for both Mitchell and also Freddie Hunt, who I met earlier on today, and I'm looking forward to catching up with him later. Freddie at the moment is running in 21st, up from 32nd position, so he's making some inroads. He's not too far from Project 1 East Anglia's Rilla Netchberg, who's currently running out the top 20. Some further changes. Thomas Cucurulo Yeomans again on the charge and has set the fastest lap of this race of 49.39. Purple in sector number 1. 8 minutes and 47 to go here in the 2nd Honda Cadet final of the weekend, plus an additional lap. Jaden Gregg, 10. Zach Drummond in 11th. Hayden Eldridge has dropped down into 13th, with Ewan Charman and Jamie Perilli rounding out the top 15. Macy Hitter, in the meantime, is a little bit on the back foot, is the Hines Racing driver in the number 11. She's down into 16th, having started from 11th after that fantastic drive in final number 1. Looks like there's a good move there that I've just spotted, and that is behind, well, it's been 3 places behind, and it's still going on. And that is between Oscar Chewton and Stephen Duncan, so from Scotland, and that's over 8th position at the minute. So Cucurulo Yeomans has also got past Zach Drummond in the process, so the number 86 from V Motorsport definitely showing what he's truly capable of. He won the 2nd Honda Cadet heat yesterday afternoon here at Rissington. So fast approaching the half-time distance here. And the gap between 1st and 2nd has come down significantly. Here we go. Ethan Simmons and Jack Hobson have caught up with Keith Nakamura-Roberta. And if they start squabbling, what is going to happen for Mitchell Gibbons? Because Gibbons will really now need to... He should see that up front, a couple of corners ahead, and go, right, they're squabbling. I've got a chance to claw my way back towards that top 4. The gap between the top 3, between Nakamura-Roberta, who continues to lead, Ethan Simmons in 2nd, Jack Hobson in 3rd, is just over 3/10. as we now have just over 7 minutes plus an additional lap in this Honda Cadet final. This is round 4 of the championship in 2019. Sonny Smith, resurgent as always, now back up into 5th, having got past Mitchell Gibbons. So Smith now has deposed Gibbons, and Gibbons' disadvantage to Nakamura Berta has just opened up by a further point as a result of Smith going up into 5th just now. But Gibbons will want to retake that position as the number 57 of Jack Plant is not having the best of luck at the moment, having been passed by Oscar Chewton and Stephen Duncan, who now start battling over what is effectively 7th position. Ewan Charman gets past Thomas Cucurullo Yeomans for 11th place. So it looks like we might have a couple of drivers that have called it a day. One looks to be Ben Rayburn and unfortunately Damien Barras-Haggett. So we're now down to what is effectively, well, no, Damien is still circulating, I believe. So we've got one car pretty much on its own, looks to be Ben Rayburn, who's just completed his 10th lap. And they will have to be wary that they're going to be at this pace at 49.31 from Keen Nakamura Berta. That's the fastest lap of the race so far. It's just just under 3/10 ahead of Ethan Simmons, who's really put himself into the thick of the action here in the Honda Cadet season and the campaign for 2019 by keeping pace with Keen Nakamura Berta. He did a 49.51 on that last lap. So good work from the Cutting Edge Racing driver, whose team are based out of Lighthouse Park Raceway down in the south. So leaders coming through around the final corner. 5 minutes to go plus an additional lap here in round 4 of the Honda Cadet campaign. Keen Nakamura Berta continuing to lead, but the fastest lap again has gone to Ethan Simmons, 49.29 from the number 23, who is 0.12 of a second behind the number 5 from Japan with the help of Project One Racing. But Jack Hobson, who's the team's very own, in number 28 still, about 7/10 adrift. Getting his head down behind is Connor Duncan from Behind Racing, the O-Plate. A little bit further back, the battle still going on between Sonny Smith from Oliver Rowland Motorsport and Ambition Motorsport's Mitchell Gibbons. So the leaders come through. It's now going to be lap number 13 completed. And Nakamura Berta had a better sector 1 than Simmons that last time around, but Simmons seems to get a bit more pace through sectors 2 and 3 and is on level pegging. He actually went a 10th quicker than Nakamura Berta in sector number 2. And it was pretty much even Stevens in sector 3. So Nakamura Berta did hold the fastest lap until Simmons snatched it from him. And Simmons not letting Nakamura Berta out of his sight, going through the dogleg on lap number 14 here. 3 minutes 40 plus an additional lap to go here. So at the moment, well, Connor Duncan looks to have made the move past, or has he? No, I'm not too sure. I'm going to keep an eye out because the number 24 of Ben Rayburn still being closed in by a considerable margin. He's just on a 44.0. So there's a 5-second gap between him and those behind in terms of the gap on the timing. So 3 minutes and 10 plus an additional lap. Look at this squabble with the likes of the number 55 of Jamie Perilli. Macy Hitter definitely keeping herself as composed as she can. Curry is sitting in 17th position. There, just ahead of them is Hayden Eldridge in 15th, who's dropped 2 positions in the duration of this race. And Rylan Eschberg from Project One East Anglia, taking top 16. But Simmons is definitely looking menacing on the back bumper of Keen Nakamura Berta right now as they come through into the elbow. 2.5 minutes or so to go, plus an additional lap. And a little bit further adrift is the number 28 of Jack Hobson. So Connor Duncan has got some work to do if Connor wants to hit the final step of the rostrum. But it is a slipstream fest between Sonny Smith and Mitchell Gibbons, and behind them is Oscar Chewton and Stephen Duncan. They're battling over 7th place. We've also got Ewan Charman, who's gone from 12th to 9th position in the 42, ahead of Heinz Race's 57 and Jack Plant. Zach Drummond again has overtaken Thomas Cucarulo Yeomans in the battle for 11th position with Bruce Speakman. Freddie Hull up all the way from 32nd to 14th position. What a great drive from the number 99. Just showing what pace he has. 49.53 is his best lap of the race. But as long as he's been keeping it consistent, that's really paying in earnest. As Connor Duncan's going up the inside of Jack Hobson through paddock bend. Nice work by the O-plate to snatch 3rd position with just over a minute and a half plus an additional lap left to go. Freddie Hull now completes the top 15. He's just dropped a place to Jaden Gregg. It still doesn't count out the fact that that is a Herculean drive from the number 99 as someone nearly goes spinning, goes wide off the loop there, and loses a significant amount of positions. I count 7, maybe even 8 places from that particular number. I'll find out who that is very shortly. With just over a minute to go, the battle has just carried on between the two leaders as they finally get past Ben Rayburn, number 24. Then Connor Duncan and Jack Hobson will have to just keep themselves aware, as it is still, it's 0.13 of a second between Nakamura Berta and Simmons. This could go down to the wire for the win in this heat, in this final here at Rissington. But Nakamura Berta, the number 41 goes off. That's Hayden Eldridge, but manages to regain composure and control of his car. Back onto the black stuff goes the 41. So 25 seconds on the clock. Will they make it in time to get to the start-finish line? It could be very much touch and go here, but Nakamura Berta has got a fight on his hands. It's not with Mitchell Gibbons, it is with Ethan Simmons from Cutting Edge Racing. They might just make it at the flag. Who's not to say? 5, 4, 3, 2 seconds on the clock. They cross the start-finish line. 1 lap to go after this one, but Nakamura Berta has his hands full of the number 23 of Ethan Simmons, who is not letting the Japanese driver out of his sight. Meanwhile, Connor Duncan and Jack Hobson still battling over 3rd and 4th. Meanwhile, Mitchell Gibbons has got past Sonny Smith. And Sonny Smith is now hanging on to 6th by a thread, with Oscar Tuton and Steve Duncan battling over 7th. Looks like Duncan's taking the initial advantage over the number 77. But the lead has not yet changed. Now it is a case that it's going to be just over 1,000 metres between Nakamura Berta and Simmons for victory in round number 4 of the Honda Cadet season in the British Kart Championships. And it's so close to call. Last lap it is, and well, Simmons goes round to the outside to get the momentum through paddock. Nakamura Berta's is wise to it. Through the loop they go for the final time. Tuton really has just shown that he's now up into 6th ahead of Stephen Duncan. Sonny Smith drops to 8th. But is it going to be enough for Ethan Simmons? He's got the back straight, the dog leg, bottom straight, the elbow, and the final right-hander onto the start-finish straight to go. Will it be time enough for him to take the win from Keen Nakamura Berta at the dying seconds of this race? The checkered flag being prepared. The 2 leaders come through the bottom straight for the final time. The short blast up to the tight left-hander at the elbow. Is it going to be enough for Ethan Simmons? I don't think so. It could be a drag race to the finish. Who's going to get it? It's going to be Nakamura Berta, who takes another win this season. That's 3 for the Japanese driver. What a drive, what a great defensive display. What a charge for Ethan Simmons to take 2nd position by just a 10th and a half behind Nakamura Berta after what was an enticing battle at the front of the field. Connor Duncan for Heinz Racing, the O-plate from Scotland, hits the rostrum as well in 3rd position, about 3.35 seconds adrift. Jack Hobson in 4th. Well done to Mitchell Gibbons to keep himself in the championship fight by just 14 points at the end of the first 4 rounds of the championship. Sonny Smith, after a Herculean drive in final number 1, finished in 6th, exactly where he qualified. So the top 6 stayed as they were. Ewan Charman started in 12th, finished in 7th, ahead of Oscar Tuton. Stephen Duncan, who started 16th behind Tuton, and the pair worked together to make it to 8th and 9th respectively, with Jack Plant dropping from 8th to 10th, completing the top 10, all separated by just over 10 seconds at the flag. Bruce Speakman in 11th ahead of Zach Drummond with Thomas Cucurullo. Yeomans climbing from 20th to 13th ahead of Jaden Gregg. What a drive from Freddie Hull. 32nd to 15th from the number 99 from Ambition Motorsport with Alfie Thompson, Rylan Eschberg, Gustav Ziakovs, Henry Gregory, Hayden Eldridge. Macy Hitter would drop an unfortunately 10 places in that race to finish 21st ahead of Henry Jocelyn, Blake Ticehurst, Josh Agenbar, Jai Lawrence, Ralph Youngling up from 31st to 26th with Sonny Mortensen finishing in 27th with Reese Lomax, Jamie Pirelli, Callie Clifford, Lewis Islin, Bradley Bick and Damien Barris-Haggett competing in the 33 that finished, with Ben Rayburn unfortunately retiring after lap number 17. After winning 2 rounds on the trot, Keen Nakamura-Berta takes a 14-point advantage coming out of Rissington over Mitchell Gibbons, whilst both Ethan Simmons and Connor Duncan rounded out the podium, bringing themselves into the top 5 in the championship contention.
Did my best to come second in both finals. Just made a mistake on the last lap and then couldn't really give Keane a run, but I'm happy with 2 seconds and a lot of more points scored, seeing that we came into the weekend 8th and now we're 4th, so very happy overall. Hopefully get a few more points over the rounds and challenge for the British Championship.
Yeah, it's been great. 2 wins in a row, final 1 and final 2 was amazing, and I think it was a good weekend. Got good points this weekend as well. A decent lead to Mitchell Gibbons, so yeah, I think I'm ready for the next round coming up. Yeah, there's many good drivers, great with capabilities to win, and yeah, mainly like Gibbons, Ethan, Sonny Smith as well. They're all in the top like 4 or 5, all racing to win.